Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about all the different tier lists in Memento Mori. It can be very overwhelming. A lot of people have seen this page in particular right in front of me, which has different tier lists depending on what level the characters are. And of course, some of the actual recommended characters to pull are not always at the top of the pull list. So we're going to talk about what characters you're going to want to look for, which characters you want to pull to build a solid account. So let's go ahead and dig in. So first off, right now, just at where we're at in the game, I really feel like Natasha is going to be very important for you. For those of you that don't know, Natasha is this unit right here. You do get her for free. A lot of people really like to tout the capability of Frisia, the fire healer. I do think she is very good. I also tend to really heavily lean towards Cordy as well. So if there were any units right now that I would recommend, it would be these three currently, just from my own experience. You can go a little bit wrong if you do just rely on this tier list. For example, Olivier, the unit here in the lower left, Fenrir and Frisia are all kind of support buffing units. They aren't necessarily DPS characters. So if you are re-rolling your account and you get all three of them and you're like, oh, I'm going to be so powerful now, you're going to run into the situation where you don't have any DPS. So I would definitely recommend at least making sure you have one DPS besides Natasha going forward from your reroll, whether that's going to be Cordy or someone else. This water girl right here is also a pretty powerful DPS. You'll have to forgive me, I don't know all of their names yet. You will probably be fine. I will point out here, this water swordswoman that you do get for free if you do make one purchase in game can also suffice as a DPS. She does tend to lag behind though eventually. One thing people have kind of referenced is there's kind of different characters to aim for in the rerolls. Specifically, one thing I want to point out here is Moza and Amor. As well as Frisia. These are three characters I would personally recommend. And Moza and Amor, a lot of people are sleeping on these characters right now. I think because we don't have an understanding of game mechanics, they actually have an ability called Blight, which is tied to some of their abilities, which actually hinders opponents' healing. So there can definitely be, while Moza and Amor are not top tier on the tier list, there are PvE situations, there are PvP situations, particularly with everybody pulling for Frisia, where you're probably going to want Moza and you're probably going to want Amor. Personally, in my build, I use Moza, and I have been utilizing the Blight, or you'll see it categorized as incurable as you are playing the game. It is definitely useful in PvE because you do run into a lot of support characters when you are trying to clear content. And if you are running in a wall, particularly 5-28, which it calls out here, you will want to use Moza. For me, I'm in chapter 7 right now, and I need to use Moza, and I'm struggling to kind of put together a DPS composition around her and around still having the support in my party that I require. When we're looking at the recommended reroll list here, you'll notice that there are a couple of units that are not SS tier. Most notably, Sabrina, Tropon, and Mimi are not SS tier. Personally, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, Natasha, Cordy, Florence, and Frisia are really going to be the four you're going to want to focus on. But getting Sabrina, getting Tropon, and getting Mimi can be really powerful because they are also very focused DPS characters, and it's really easy to get lost when you pull SR characters and end up with an SR composition that's either focused on like buffing, debuffing, shielding, healing, and not actually having enough solid DPS in your composition. So there is a lot of things you can kind of misstep and go the wrong way on. I think if there's one thing to really keep in mind and to re-roll for, Natasha, Cordy, Florence, and Frisia. I think those are the four to go for. I think those are the four that have the most impact on your build. And I think those are the four that you are going to want to really be aware of. And you will probably get Moza and Amor naturally. I've gotten Moza on so many polls. When you're looking at kind of other units on the tier list, you're probably going to pull some of them and be able to kind of filter them into different elemental compositions. But you are going to really want to focus on kind of those three as a priority. Fenrir up here in the top as well, for those of you that aren't familiar with him. I actually pulled Fenrir, and I was really excited when I initially pulled Fenrir. And Fenrir is one of those unique characters where, if you don't know, that you can actually buff units off to the side of you. So Fenrir is a unique buffing character, which there really aren't that many specific positional buffing characters in the game. Personally, Fenrir has never really been a carry for me. Fenrir does also offer additional healing, but he's just never really been incredible for me. He's never been the reason I've won a match. So if you're looking at him and you're like, oh yeah, he's probably good, keep in mind a lot of these tier lists are for like 161 plus. Let's actually look at the sub 161 tier list, because that might actually give you a better understanding here. You'll notice DPS is elevated here. So you have the Earth Witch and you have the Fire Swordsman are both elevated to S tier, sub 161, and that's of course going to be because you are going to be able to deal damage. You need to be able to deal damage in order to clear content, particularly if you are running into enemies that are potentially healing, or you lack incurable, or you have a support team, or you have really good support units but you're not building them. All of this can really come back and kind of haunt you. Similarly, since we are talking about building characters and building a strong offensive character, putting all of your resources into your offensive character, please do that. Don't invest crazy into your support characters right away. Focus on getting your weapons on your attack characters up. Invest your holy and your light, which maybe will be, or your holy and your dark, which will maybe be a separate video, into your attack-based characters. You want to increase their damage as much as possible to stop roadblocks as much as possible, because you are going to run into them. And every time you run into a roadblock, if you are delayed there, that's potential progress, especially as free to play, right? That you are hindering for yourself down the line. So you want to make sure to try and get as far as possible with your builds. And I am seeing and hearing a lot of people pulling and investing in multiple healers and multiple supports, and I myself have made that mistake as well. And if I could go back and change one thing, it would be definitely focusing on the power of investing in offensive characters and building up those offensive characters for your team. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I will probably be making some more Memento Mori videos. If that's something you guys are interested in, please let me know. I hope this video was helpful, kind of talking about the tier list, breaking down an understanding of why characters are good, why you want to pull for certain things, and why there is such a variety of different tier lists. And I will catch you guys all next time.